Is there someone in your life who somehow keeps managing to make you feel guilty and responsible for stuff that you have no business feeling guilty or responsible for? Does this person keep moving the goalposts and appears to be getting some sort of pleasure from watching you over-explain, justify, and perhaps finally actually taking responsibility for something that you didn't even do or you're certainly not responsible for? Making you feel guilty is one of the specialities of the narcissist, and whether this person is your spouse, your partner, your parent, a sibling, or your business partner, it is time for you to recognize and understand the strategies behind their actions so that you can develop some strategies of your own and stop that guilt tripping today. Why? Because this habit is impacting on your health, the joy you experience in your life and in your business, and in your success ultimately. So it's time for it to stop. In order to do this, we're going to look at some real life examples of this particularly toxic form of emotional abuse so that you can more easily recognize the patterns and start working on those strategies and tactics to future-proof yourself. After the examples, we're going to look at some simple strategies you can use to stop the guilt you don't deserve to be feeling. Once you become more resistant to this type of abuse, you will be able to work on improving your sleep, your eating patterns. You'll be able to look after your body better, to create a safe space for yourself, to refocus on your work, on running your business if you're a business owner, and in short, be able to experience joy and success and healthy relationships. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to click on the subscribe button to get weekly strategies that will help you navigate the adversity and trauma in your life in order to experience that joy, health and success that you absolutely deserve. So you are quite likely an empathic person, making it even easier for the narcissist to trigger these unwarranted feelings of guilt. And they will target specific areas that they know are going to be pain points for you. So this could include how you spend your time, what you do with your money. Your affection and compassion will be questioned. They will also target your trust, your loyalty and your commitment, again in all possible areas of your life. So this could be in work scenarios if this narcissist is in your professional life, but of course it could also be in your home environment or in your personal life. As I said, the narcissist will know your weak points. They will know the areas where you are likely to be more sensitive, and these are the areas they are going to target. Being able to make you feel awkward and guilty is just another way of them exerting control and power over you. The intention is to make you feel inadequate and to make them feel superior. Let's see how many of the following statements resonate with you and sound familiar. Starting with that topic of time. The narcissist, as we know, wants to continually exert control over you and feel that they have some power and some hold over you. So your time is an asset that is really important to them, and they also want to control your time, not just you physically, but how you spend your time. So this is a really hot topic, and you might hear some or all of the following statements or guilt-tripping sentences being thrown your way. You're always working. You never have time for me. If you loved me, you'd make sure you got home earlier. In a work scenario, a business partner may say something along the lines of, you're not spending enough time in the office, you're not visible enough, you're not there as much as I am, and people are beginning to question your ability to do the job. A narcissistic family member could say something like, if you didn't spend so much time messing about at the gym, you'd be able to take poor mum to her hospital appointments instead of simply paying for her taxi fares. So all of these are going to trigger feelings of guilt in you around how you spend your time and what other people are thinking about how you spend your time, thereby triggering that response of justifying, maybe arguing, explaining and defending how you spend your time. Money is another asset and therefore something that potentially represents control to the narcissist. So you could hear guilt-tripping statements such as a spouse or a partner saying, well, you can't be running your business properly, or you can't be really trying to get to that next level in the organisation if the money coming in doesn't even allow me to go on that trip with my college friends that I've been so looking forward to and that I really need. A family member, perhaps a parent or a sibling, could say something along the lines of, a good son or daughter or brother or sister would lend me the money, and instead you're being selfish, you're keeping it to yourself. Let's have a look at what the narcissist might say to you to guilt trip you around your affection and your compassion. And remember that there is a deep-rooted fear of abandonment in the narcissist in your life, and that is what drives so much of their toxic behaviour. It doesn't excuse it, but it does drive it. So if the narcissist is getting a sense that you may be catching on to their tactics and know what they're doing and maybe even starting to pull away, they are going to try to guilt trip you in that area in order to bring you back into the fold. And it can just be an ongoing controlling and manipulation technique that they use in order to keep you there and to stop you potentially wandering and potentially abandoning them. So you could hear just statements like, you don't show me any affection anymore, or you don't show me enough affection. Whether or not they show you any, they will still demand and expect it from you. They may say, you're cold and you just need to show me more love. Again, even if they themselves are not behaving in a lovable, easy to be affectionate towards manner, they will still want it from you. You could come home from a manic day at work and they will say something like, you haven't even asked me about how my day went. You don't care enough to ask me about my things, my day. The area of trust is another good one, because the narcissist is likely to be untrustworthy and very secretive. But once again, it's a one-way street, and they don't want to let you in, but they want to have access all areas to everything that you do, where you go, how you spend your time, what you buy, etc. So using gaslighting techniques, they will quite often turn the tables. One to deflect attention away from something that they are doing that is sneaky or untrustworthy, and 2, again, as a way of controlling you and as a way of provoking you into justifying or over-explaining and getting a little bit het up and concerned that your partner or your whoever the family member might be, the narcissist, doesn't trust you or doesn't believe you are being trustworthy. So they could say things like, "You've never trusted me, you're always checking up on me." In a business setting, I could quite easily go and represent the organisation at this conference, but clearly you don't trust me, you don't think I'm going to do a good enough job, do you? As an extension of that, guilt tripping you around your loyalty and your commitment is another tactic that the narcissist will use in order to make you feel guilty and to make you feel like you have to walk on eggshells around them, because you need to prove somehow that you are loyal and you are committed. So some examples. The narcissistic partner might say something along the lines of, "I knew as soon as you started telling me that you're feeling sad in this relationship that you weren't committed, you weren't in this for the long haul." A business partner may say something like, "I'm always picking up your slack. It's as though I'm the only one who cares about the success of the business." Or, "If you really cared about our business, you'd cancel your vacation because we need all hands on deck." Regardless of whether they themselves have just come back from a vacation or they themselves are not cancelling events that they have planned, they will project this onto you and make you feel guilty and responsible. So why do we allow the narcissist to guilt trip us? It's most likely because you and I are empathetic, are loyal, are committed, and are the sort of people who want to make something work, who want to do our best. So these traits can actually put us in a bit of a vulnerable position and certainly make it easier for the narcissist to trigger people like us rather than people who are less empathetic. Guilt is an important emotion, and we are able to feel guilt in order to alert us to times and events when we do something which is out of alignment with our core beliefs and values. When we're in the midst of a toxic relationship with a narcissist, we very easily lose touch with our core beliefs and values in amongst all the manipulation, the gaslighting, the word salad. So this makes us vulnerable to being easily triggered into feeling guilty and responsible for things that we really have no business feeling responsible or guilty for. A personal example from my history: a few years ago, when one of my ex-husband's affairs came to light, I briefly took responsibility for his infidelity. I mean, how messed up is that? We do these things because we are dragged into this atmosphere of uncertainty and totally lack clarity and connection with what we know to be true. So how can we stop this cycle? How can we prevent the narcissist from being able to guilt trip us? There are two core things that we need to do. Firstly, to rebuild our self-esteem, and secondly, to get clear on what is a healthy interaction and what are normal expectations in a healthy relationship. Let's look at building and rebuilding self-esteem first. So this is something that starts from the inside. And this means treating ourselves with compassion. So this means you need to start talking to yourself as you would talk to your best friend. So with kindness and understanding, not beating yourself up. And this can just start in little ways. If you catch yourself saying something negative to yourself and calling yourself names, stop and just rephrase it and get used to saying things like, you're doing your best in difficult circumstances. And just be your own best friend. Notice what you need, because if you're in a toxic relationship and have been for some time, you have most likely forgotten what your needs are or got used to stuffing them down. So notice what you need. Do you need an early night? Do you need a break? Do you need a change of scene? Do you need to just go and hook up with some friends? Just listen to what you need, and again, imagine that you're advising your best friend. Take your own advice and act on that. Another really important part of boosting self-esteem is to have clear boundaries in place. So give yourself time to reflect on boundaries, to allow yourself to notice when a boundary has been transgressed, because we know in our gut when this has happened, but more often than not, we override that. So listen to the information that your body is giving you, and if something feels off, then it most likely is. So consider how you can set a boundary around that area. And if this is something you struggle with, then start small. Start practicing saying no to small things and gradually work your way up to saying no in more important scenarios. Many of my clients find it useful to rehearse what they're going to say or practice saying no, I can't, without too much over explaining, in order to be able to do that on the day, as it were. So if you know that you are tired and you need an early night, or you just want to go to bed and read your book, but you're being guilt-tripped into either staying up late to watch a movie that you're not that fussed about, or to go out and do something, or to give somebody a lift, practice saying, I'd love to, or I wish I could, but I can't. I need to go to bed, for example. Just keep it simple. Don't over-explain and carry on doing what you need to do. But if you do struggle, you will need to rehearse this a lot, and you will need to start with small things before you can work up to saying no and enforcing your boundaries in more important scenarios. The second part of making yourself resistant to guilt tripping involves getting clarity. Clarity on what a healthy relationship looks like, and reminding yourself of what reasonable requests and comments actually are, because as I've said before, we very easily lose touch with that. So there are a number of ways that you can get that clarity, and in doing so you are going to be educating yourself both on narcissistic behaviour to get more information and more understanding of all the traits and behaviours involved in that. But in parallel, it's important to keep your eye on healthy relationships, what they look like and sound like. There are a number of different ways in which you can do this. So self-help approaches include watching videos like this one, also reading books, listening to podcasts. you might want to join some sort of peer support group, whether that's in person if you happen to live in a big city with that opportunity, or online. Some of them may have a therapist or a coach leading and guiding, but mostly they are peer-led. So have a look around and find one where you feel comfortable. You might realise that the self-help and group work approaches don't go deep enough for you, and you may need to reach out to a therapist or a coach to work one-to-one through the issues that you've had or are still having. Make sure that the coach or therapist are accredited, that they are trauma informed and have specific experience with narcissistic abuse. It's really important that you have the right person by your side to walk you through this stage of healing and recovery. If you're interested in wanting to know what working with me could look like, then my details are below and you're very welcome to check them out. So, once you have worked through these elements of rebuilding your self-esteem and informing yourself about the narcissistic behaviour and equally about healthy relationship behaviour, then you will be able to move on in your life, and you will be able to sleep better, eat better, take care of your body, take care of your business or of your team, and really create that future that you deserve. I wish you all the very best and can't wait to meet you next time. Bye for now.